Anna Reeves could barely keep her eyes open. She had been fighting cold, fear, and exhaustion for so long that her thoughts drifted like loose paper. Her legs shook. Her breath cracked in her throat. Every step hurt, yet she forced herself to keep moving. If she stopped, she knew she wouldn't rise again. Her fingers slipped. Her vision blurred. Then, a shape filled her world. A door. A voice. A man too large to be real. She couldn't tell if he meant safety or danger. She only knew she needed one more chance. Would he give it? Anna didn't remember falling against the cabin door in the Dakota wilderness. She only remembered it opening. A wall of warmth hit her at once. Then a stronger force. Two arms lifting her with ease and carrying her inside. She felt her cheek touch something solid. A chest, like a warm oak beam. The smell of smoke and pine. Then the doors slammed shut behind them. "Easy," the man said. His voice was low, steady. A voice that belonged to someone used to storms. "You're safe now." Her knees buckled, but he caught her again. He set her near a fire, glowing bright in a stone hearth. Her boots were soaked through, her coat stiff with ice. She tried to speak, but her lips barely moved. "T.H. Thank you." "Don't talk yet." He pulled a chair closer and guided her into it with surprising gentleness for someone his size. He moved with quiet purpose, disappearing into another room. When he returned, he carried blankets and a steaming mug. "Drink." She tried to lift the cup. Her hands shook too much. He steadied them with one of his own. His palm swallowed hers completely. The drink burned warm down her throat. Coffee. Strong. And whiskey. Enough to wake heat in her chest. Who are you?" she whispered. "Name's Boone Walker." He crouched in front of her, studying her face. His eyes were a cool, steel blue. Not unkind, not soft either. Eyes that had seen long winters. "You're the new teacher. Folks in Hollow Creek been waiting." "I was trying to reach the town," she said. "My wagon." The driver left when the storm began. "I walked until I saw your light." "You're lucky you saw anything at all." Quote. He rose and checked the window. Snow beat against the glass in thick white bursts. "This one's not letting up soon. 3 days, maybe more." 3 days. Anna's heart clenched. The school board expected her to arrive before the weekend. She'd worked too hard for this position to lose it now. "I have to reach the town." "They're expecting." "You're not going anywhere tonight." Boone's tone held no rudeness, only truth. "Storm will take you if you try. Sit by the fire." "Warm up." She wanted to argue. Instead, she wrapped herself tighter in the blanket. Her fingers stung as life returned. Pain rolled through her hands, her feet, her legs. But she was alive. That alone felt like a miracle. As warmth settled into her bones, she looked around the cabin. It was sturdy, large for a single man. Handmade furniture. A swept wooden floor. A shelf filled with books. Shakespeare, Emerson, weather journals. More books than she'd expected in a remote homestead. "You live here alone?" she asked softly. 5 years. "And there's no one nearby?" "Closest neighbor's 10 miles west." Quote. She swallowed. A young woman alone with a man she did not know. The thought came sharp and cold despite the fire. Boone read it in her face. "You'll be safe here," he said. "I give you my word." Something in his voice eased the knot in her chest. Still, her mind raced. Her reputation, the school position. 3 days snowbound with a stranger could undo everything. Boone seemed to consider something. Then he stepped closer. "One thing you need to know." He nodded toward the single bed against the wall. "There's only one place to sleep." Anna stiffened. "I'll take the chair," he continued. "But if you stay there all night, you'll freeze, even with the fire going. Nights cut deep out here. Body heat matters." She met his eyes. He held her gaze without flinching. "I'm not asking anything of you, just trying to keep you alive." She believed him. She couldn't explain it, but she believed him. Boone handed her a dry shirt, clearly his own. "You can change in the back room. I'll stay out here." She clutched the shirt with numb fingers. "Why would you help me like this?" Quote, He looked back at the window, watching the storm erase the world. "Because you came out here alone," he said quietly. "Because you took a chance on a new life. And because a man who's been alone long enough learns to help someone who's trying to start over." Anna felt a tremor inside her, not from cold this time. "I don't even know you," she whispered. Boone turned toward her. His expression softened in a way that surprised her. "You will," he said. "If you want to." She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but tonight she chose survival. She chose warmth. She chose trust, just enough to make it through the storm. She rose slowly, blanket still around her shoulders. "Thank you," she said. Boone nodded once. "Settle in, teacher. Storm's just getting started." Anna woke to the soft crackle of the fire. Warmth wrapped around her like a heavy quilt. For a moment she didn't remember where she was. Then she breathed in the scent of wood, smoke, and pine. Boone's shirt, far too large for her, brushed her wrists. She blinked slowly. The storm still muttered against the windows, but the world inside the cabin was quiet, safe. She sat up, feeling strength return to her limbs. A sound reached her, the solid, rhythmic thud of an axe outside. She rose and crossed to the frosted window. Boone stood in the swirling morning snow, splitting logs with easy, practiced movements. His breath rose in gray clouds. His wool shirt clung to his broad shoulders. Each swing of the axe landed clean, controlled, measured. The sight steadied her more than the fire had. She wrapped the blanket around herself and walked to the small table where her leather satchel waited. Her letters of recommendation, her teaching contract, her silver pen. She checked each item with care. They were damp but safe. "You're up." Boone's voice came from the doorway. Anna startled slightly. He stepped inside, brushing snow from his hair. He carried an armful of logs that he stacked near the hearth. "You slept hard," he said. "I was very tired." He poured coffee and set a mug in front of her. "Drink while it's hot." She wrapped both hands around it. The warmth settled through her palms. "You made breakfast." He shrugged. "Figured you'd need it." A plate of biscuits sat on the table with a jar of berry preserves. She spread a little on one biscuit, surprised by the sweetness. "This is wonderful." Boone sat across from her, elbows resting lightly on his knees. He watched her eat without saying much. He didn't stare, he simply noticed. "Tell me something," he said at last. "Why would a woman from the East come all the way out here to teach in Hollow Creek? It's a rough place. Hard winters. Harder living." Anna set down the biscuit. Her heart tightened. "I wanted a life that mattered. A life with purpose." He waited. "My father worked in a bank," she continued. "My mother was sick for many years. Medicine was expensive. Father took money to care for her. He paid it back, but the bank found out. People talked. They whispered about my family. When my mother passed, the whispers grew louder." Boone's jaw tightened. "He did it for love. That matters." "Not to the people in my old town," Anna said quietly. "They only saw disgrace. My teaching post was not renewed. No one would hire me. I decided to leave for good." Boone leaned back, studying her with a slow breath. "Took courage to start over." "It took fear," she said. "Fear of living a life that wasn't mine." He looked at her a long moment. Then he nodded. "Still took courage." Silence settled between them, a warm, steady silence that didn't feel heavy. After breakfast, Boone checked the storm again. Not clearing yet. Another day, at least. "I should help," Anna said. "I can work. I don't want to sit idle." He tipped his head toward a basket. "Some mending in there." "If you feel up to it." She picked up one of his shirts and laughed softly. "You tear these often." "Work's rough out here." As she stitched, Boone repaired a harness by the fire. They shared small pieces of their lives. She spoke of her students back east. He spoke of the cabin he had built with his own hands and the years he'd spent alone on this land. At one point he reached for his coffee and winced. "You're hurt," Anna said. "Just a cracked rib. Old injury." "How?" "War." She hesitated. "Did you fight in many battles?" "More than I care to remember." His tone carried a finality that told her not to press further. "After it ended, I came west. Needed quiet." needed space. Anna nodded. She understood. She, too, had come west, seeking something she could not name. Later, Boone pulled out a fiddle case. He held the instrument with a strange tenderness. "Haven't played for a while. Figured you might like some music." "I would," she said softly. The first note rose warm and full in the cabin. He played simple songs, old hymns. Quiet folk tunes passed down through families, the kind that carried memory inside them. Anna felt tears slip down her cheeks before she could stop them. Boone stopped playing. "Did I upset you?" "No, it's beautiful. I haven't heard music since leaving home." He played another piece, gentle and steady. She listened with closed eyes. When he finished, the silence that followed wrapped around them like a soft blanket. "Boone," she said finally, "why did you offer me help so quickly? You didn't even know me." He set the fiddle aside. His voice lowered. "Storms take people fast. I wasn't about to let it take you, and I know what it feels like to stand at the edge of life and wonder if anyone would care enough to pull you back." Her breath caught. "Were you there once?" "Yes." The word carried weight, enough weight to make her chest ache. He rose and began preparing the bed with thick quilts. "You take the left side tonight," he said quietly. "It stays warmer. I'll stay on the right. Just sleep. Nothing more." Anna touched the edge of the quilt. "Thank you, truly." Boone paused. "Storm will clear soon. When it does, I'll take you to town. But until then," his voice softened, "you're safe here." She believed him, more deeply than she expected. As she settled into the warm bed, Boone took the other side, careful to keep to his space. The storm still raged outside, but inside the cabin it felt different now. Not just safe. Something beginning. Something she wasn't ready to name yet. The storm eased by morning, but the world outside still swirled in white. The wind no longer screamed. It whispered instead, as if tired from its long fight. Anna woke slowly, her cheek warm against the heavy quilt. The other side of the bed was empty, but still warm. Boone must have left only moments ago. She sat up, listening. A soft clatter came from the stove. The smell of coffee drifted through the cabin. For the first time in days, she felt rested. Boone turned as she stepped into the main room, blanket wrapped around her shoulders. "Morning," he said. "Good morning." Her voice was quiet, almost shy. He poured her a cup of coffee and set it on the table. "Storm's breaking. Sun might come out later." Anna nodded. "I'm grateful we survived it." Boone paused, his hand resting on the back of the chair. "You did more than survive. Most people would have stopped walking. You kept going." She lowered her eyes. "I didn't feel brave." "Bravery isn't a feeling. It's a choice." The words settled deep in her chest, warming her more than the fire. After breakfast, she asked, "May I look at your books?" He smiled a little. "You can. Might find a few old friends on that shelf." She ran her fingers along the spines. Emerson, Scripture, a few battered novels. He had written notes in the margins. Sharp, thoughtful lines that showed a mind far deeper than she expected from a man living alone on the frontier. "You read a lot," she said. "Quiet nights out here. Books keep a man company better than whiskey." She smiled. "My students back east used to say the same." "You miss them?" Quote. "I do, but I'm excited to meet the children in Spring Hollow, too." She hesitated. "I hope the school board won't dismiss me for arriving late." "They won't," Boone said firmly. "The town hasn't had a proper teacher in 2 years. They'd beg you to stay." His confidence steadied her. The day passed softly. She mended more shirts. He worked on a carving at the table. A small horse formed beneath his large hands, shaped with surprising delicacy. "You're very skilled," she said. "Started carving during the war," Boone replied. "Kept my hands busy, kept my head clear." She ran a thumb gently over the wooden horse's smooth mane. "It's beautiful." "Maybe one day," Boone said quietly, "kids in this valley will play with them." Her heart gave a small, unexpected tug. As afternoon turned to evening, Boone returned from checking the barn with a light in his eyes. "Snow's letting up," he said. "Tomorrow we'll ride to town. I'll take you myself." Anna froze. She should have felt relieved. Instead, a small ache formed beneath her ribs. Will I stay at the boarding house then? For now. Boone set his gloves on the table. You'll start your teaching. Get settled. His voice was steady, but she felt something under it. Something that matched the ache in her chest. She looked toward the window. The world outside was beginning to glow with late light. A hush had fallen across the plain. A hush filled with things neither of them said. Boone? She whispered. He turned. Why did you build this cabin here, so far from everyone? He lowered himself into the chair across from her. His features shifted. Something raw surfaced. I thought being alone would fix things, he said. Thought it'd quiet my past. But it didn't. I just learned to live with silence. He looked into the fire. Then you showed up at my door, half frozen, half conscious. And for the first time in years, the silence didn't feel so heavy. Anna's breath caught. He looked at her again. Really looked. This place doesn't feel the same with you in it. She swallowed hard. Her fingers tightened in her lap. Boone! He stood gently, not fast, not forward. Just enough to close a little of the space between them. You don't owe me anything, he said. When I take you to town tomorrow, you'll have a new start. People, work, safety. His voice dropped low, almost a whisper. And if that's the life you want, I won't stand in your way. Anna's eyes burned with warmth she didn't expect. But, Boone continued, if you ever decide you want something else, something quieter, steadier, someone to build with, I want you to know the door is open. Her heart thudded hard enough that she couldn't speak. He stepped back, giving her space, always giving her space. Later, as they prepared the bed for another night, the moment still hung between them. He kept his distance, careful and respectful, but his presence filled the room. Boone, she said softly as they settled in. Thank you. For everything. Wasn't just kindness, he said quietly. You've given this cabin more life than it's had in years. She stared at the dim ceiling, listening to his breathing. Slow, steady, strong. Outside, the storm finally faded. Inside, something new began to form. A warmth that had nothing to do with quilts or fire. When sleep finally came, it came gently. And Anna Reeves knew that tomorrow would bring a choice she hadn't expected to face so soon. The next morning came with a strange, glowing quiet. Snow still drifted across the plain, but the sky above showed thin streaks of pale blue. Anna woke slowly, surprised by how warm she felt. Boone was already up, his side of the bed empty but still faintly warm. She listened to the familiar sounds of the cabin. The fire. Footsteps, the gentle clink of a coffee pot. For a moment she simply lay there, feeling something she hadn't felt in months. Peace. When she stepped into the main room, Boone was fastening his coat. Morning, teacher. Morning, she said softly. He handed her a mug of coffee. Storm's clearing fast. We can ride to Spring Hollow today. Her heart tugged. Of course. Boone must have sensed the hesitation in her voice. He didn't mention it. He didn't push. He simply said, eat first. It's a long ride. They shared a quiet breakfast. She kept catching him watching her in small moments, not staring, just noticing, memorizing. She felt the same pull in herself, though she didn't say it aloud. After packing her satchel and wrapping herself in her coat, Anna followed Boone outside. The air was sharp and cold, but the storm had lost its bite. The world glittered with fresh snow. Boone saddled his horse, then brought out a gentle bay mare for her. She's steady, won't give you trouble. Anna stroked the horse's neck. She's beautiful. Ready? Boone asked. She nodded, though part of her wished she wasn't. They rode in silence for a while, the snow crunching softly under hooves. The sky opened wider as they traveled, revealing a land that looked almost new, white hills rolling like quiet waves. Anna breathed in the cold air and felt something shift inside her. You're quiet today, Boone said. So are you. He smiled faintly. Guess we're both thinking. She hesitated. About what comes next. Boone didn't answer right away. His voice came slow. Something like that. They reached the ridge overlooking Spring Hollow. Smoke curled from chimneys. Children ran between houses. Life moved with simple purpose. Anna's new life. Boone reined in his horse beside her. His breath fogged in the air. His voice softened. "Town's right there. I'll get you to the boarding house. Make sure they've got room." "Boone." He waited. Anna struggled for words. She felt the pull of the schoolhouse and the children. She also felt the pull of the man beside her. Steady and strong. The man who had carried her through a storm. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. "You don't owe me a thing." "I feel like I do." Boone turned his horse slightly toward her. "Anna, I didn't do any of this expecting something back. You were freezing, alone. Anyone decent would have helped." Her breath stirred in the cold air, but not everyone would have shared their home, their fire, their warmth. He looked at her for a long moment, the kind of look that said more than words could. "You brought something into that cabin," he said quietly, "something I didn't realize was missing." Her chest tightened. "What was missing?" she whispered. He took a long breath. "Light." The word landed softly, carefully, like he was setting it in her hands. Anna swallowed hard. The wind brushed her hair. Her heart felt too full. "Boone, I—" Before she could finish, a shout rose from below. Children waved from the road, calling to her. A group of parents stepped outside the schoolhouse. Word must have spread about the new teacher finally arriving. Boone straightened in the saddle. "Looks like your students can't wait." Quote. Anna looked down at the eager faces, then back at Boone. Something inside her pulled both directions. He noticed. Of course he did. "You belong with them," he said gently. "And what about you?" she whispered. "I'll manage," he said with a small smile. But the smile didn't reach his eyes. They rode the last stretch slowly. When they reached the schoolhouse road, Boone dismounted first and helped her down. His hands lingered at her waist for a moment too long. She didn't step away. "Will I see you again?" she asked quietly. "If you want to," he said. "I do." His breath caught slightly, though he hit it well. "Then I'll come by when the trail's clear." A few townsfolk approached them. Mothers, children, curious faces. Anna stepped toward them but looked back one last time. "Thank you, Boone." He tipped his hat. "Take care, Anna." She watched as he mounted his horse and turned back toward the white horizon. His figure grew smaller and smaller, until the storm-washed land swallowed him whole. Anna exhaled slowly. She had come to Spring Hollow to begin a new life. She hadn't expected to leave her heart on the road behind her. Life in Spring Hollow settled around Anna faster than she expected. Within a week, her small schoolhouse filled with children eager to learn. Parents brought firewood, quilts, even small baskets of food to welcome her. The kindness warmed her. But every evening, when the sun dipped behind the hills, her thoughts drifted to Boone Walker. He came to town on the 10th day. She was closing the schoolhouse shutters when she heard the soft tread of boots behind her. Her heart lifted before she even turned. Boone stood there, hat in hand, snow-dusting his coat. "Evening, teacher." Her breath caught at the sight of him. "You came." "Promised I would." He walked with her to her boarding room above the mercantile. He didn't touch her, didn't crowd her, but his presence warmed the cold evening air. "How's the cabin?" she asked. "Quiet." The single word carried more weight than a whole paragraph. She smiled gently. "I miss it too." Boone looked at her then, really looked. A question sat in his eyes, a hope he didn't speak aloud. Before either of them could say more, a sharp voice called out from the street. "Well now, if it isn't Boone Walker." Boone stiffened. Anna followed his gaze and saw a man she didn't recognize. Tall, thin, dressed too fine for a frontier town. His smile was polite, but his eyes held something colder. "I'm sorry," Anna said carefully. "Do you know him?" Boone didn't answer right away. His jaw tightened. "Name's Levi Crane." Levi tipped his hat at Anna. "Ma'am, I've heard the new teacher's quite the sensation." Anna forced a polite smile. "Welcome to Spring Hollow." "Oh, I'm not staying, just passing through." Levi's eyes slid back to Boone. Something sharp flickered there, but I always keep an eye out for old friends. "We're not friends," Boone said quietly. "No, I suppose we're not," Levi chuckled softly. "But paths cross anyway, don't they?" Anna sensed danger even without understanding the words. Levi gave Boone a slow, pointed glance before turning away. "See you around," he said. Boone didn't move until Levi was gone. "Boone," Anna whispered. "Who was he?" He didn't look at her. "Someone I used to know, someone I hoped was long behind me." Her heartbeat quickened. She stepped closer. "Tell me what you mean." Finally, he met her eyes. "Not here. Come walk with me." They walked toward the quiet edge of town where lantern lights softened the snow. Boone's voice came low, steady, as if each word cost him something. "There's a part of my past I haven't told you, not because I wanted to hide it, because I didn't want to stain the life you're building." Anna's throat tightened. "Boone, whatever it is, just tell me." He stopped walking. The cold wind tugged softly at his coat. "Years ago, after the war, I fell in with the wrong men like Levi, men who thought stealing was a way to survive. I wasn't with them long, but long enough to make mistakes I've carried ever since." Anna breathed in slowly. "You're not that man anymore." "No," he said quietly, "but Levi still is, and men like him don't let go of old debts." Her pulse picked up. "Are you in danger?" "Maybe. Maybe not." Boone looked toward the hills. "But he's not in Spring Hollow by accident. He came looking, and if he came, others might too." A tremor passed through Anna, not fear of Boone, but fear for him. "What do you want me to do?" she asked. "Just stay aware. And don't walk alone after dark." She nodded. "All right." He hesitated. "And Anna?" "Yes?" "If anything happens, if trouble comes looking." She stepped closer. "I'm not leaving because someone from your past wants to rattle you." His shoulders softened. He hadn't expected that answer. She could see it in the way he exhaled, long and slow. "You don't understand," he said. "Levi doesn't just rattle. He breaks things. He hurts people." Her voice softened. "Then we face it together." Boone stared at her with an emotion she couldn't name. Admiration, fear, hope, all mixed. "You shouldn't tie yourself to a man with shadows in his past," he said. She reached out and touched his hand. Just lightly. Just enough. "Everyone has shadows, Boone. Some are just easier to see." For a moment, he didn't move. Then his fingers closed around hers. Warm, gentle, certain. "Anna," he said quietly, "you're braver than you know." The wind stilled. The world felt small around them. Something shifted in Boone. Something deep. Something long locked away. He didn't kiss her. He didn't pull her close. Instead, he lifted her hand and held it against his chest, just above his heartbeat. A soft promise. A wordless vow. Then footsteps sounded on the road behind them. Boone stepped back, protective instinct rising in an instant. It was only a farmer heading home. But the spell broke. Boone released her hand slowly. "I'll walk you to your room," he said. When they reached the stairs of the Mercantile, he paused. "I don't know when Levi will make his move," Boone said, "but I'll be ready." Anna touched the railing, letting the truth settle inside her. "Boone, I trust you." His eyes softened. "I won't let harm touch you. Not while I breathe." She believed him, with her whole heart. As she climbed the stairs, she felt Boone's gaze on her until she disappeared into the warm light of her room. Outside, danger began to shadow the valley. Inside her heart, something deeper than fear had begun to bloom. Anna was ringing the school bell when she noticed the dust on the horizon. Not storm dust. Riders. Moving fast. Her heart tightened. She stepped back from the bell rope, gripping it with cold fingers. Children began arriving, their small boots crunching in the snow. Mothers waved from wagons. Everything looked normal, peaceful, but Anna's breath wouldn't steady. "Miss Reeves?" young Sarah Hartwell asked. "Are you all right?" "Yes," Anna said softly. "Go inside, dear." But her eyes stayed locked on the ridge. The riders grew clearer. 4 men. One of them wore a dark coat and rode with relaxed confidence. Levi Crane. Boone had been right. Before Anna could act, a deep voice sounded behind her. "Get inside." She turned. Boone Walker stood on the schoolhouse steps, jaw tight, shoulders squared, eyes cold. She hadn't even heard him ride in. He stepped in front of her without hesitation, placing himself between her and the approaching danger. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "Wasn't letting them reach you alone." Her chest tightened. "Boone!" "No fear now," he murmured. "I'm right here." The riders slowed to a halt in front of the schoolhouse. Levi dismounted first. His smile was easy, but his eyes were sharp. Well, Walker. "Heard you'd gone respectable. New name, new friends, new lady." Boone didn't move. "You don't belong in Spring Hollow." Levi shrugged. "Just came to collect what's owed." "There's nothing owed." Levi flicked his gaze to Anna. "Seems to me the teacher deserves to know the truth about the man she's keeping company with." Boone's voice dropped. "Leave her out of this." "Why?" Levi asked. "You didn't leave us out when you ran. Men paid the price for your clean conscience." Boone stepped forward. "I'm not the same man." "No," Levi said with a laugh. "You're weaker now, softer. Thinking a pretty woman can wash away the past." Anna felt the children gathering behind her, drawn by the voices. She turned slightly. "Inside, all of you. Now." The children obeyed, but Anna stayed. Levi smirked. "Look at her, brave little schoolteacher. Shame she's standing beside a liar." Anna felt Boone's breath tighten. His fists curled. "Boone," she whispered. "Don't." He drew in a long breath, a grounding one, the kind of breath a man takes before choosing who he wants to be. He stepped forward. Voice steady. "You're right about one thing. I did wrong after the war. I followed men who took what wasn't theirs. I walked away from it. Spent years trying to build something better, something honest, and I won't let you bring that poison here." Levi's smile vanished. "Then pay what you owe." "No." Levi drew his gun. Anna gasped. But before Levi could aim, townsfolk stepped into the road. Sam Hartwell, Tom Miller. 6 other men. They didn't rush. They didn't shout. They simply stood, steady, rooted, unshaken. "This town stands with Boone," Sam said. "If you want him, you go through all of us." Levi scanned the silent line of farmers and ranchers, men with calloused hands, men who didn't bluff. "You won't win this," Boone said quietly. "Not today." Levi's jaw clenched. For a long moment, no one breathed. Finally, he holstered his gun. "Last time I walk away," Levi said. "Next time, Walker. Next time you answer alone." Boone didn't flinch. "There won't be a next time." Levi mounted his horse. His men followed. In moments they were riding hard, disappearing over the ridge. Silence filled the road. Sam let out a slow breath. "Thought we were about to see a real bad morning." Boone nodded his thanks, but his eyes turned to Anna immediately. "You all right?" he asked. She didn't answer with words. She stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him. He froze for half a second, surprised, then held her carefully, like he was afraid she might break. "You didn't have to face them alone," she whispered. "You never will." Boone's voice trembled. "Anna, I was afraid you'd step away after hearing all that." "Why?" she asked softly. "You told me the truth. You stood for this town, and they stood for you. That's the man I see." His breath shook. She lifted her hands to his face. "Boone Walker, I am not leaving your side." He closed his eyes, letting the words settle deep. "Come with me," he said. "There's something I need to ask you." They walked a little past the schoolhouse, to a quiet stretch of snowy field. Boone took off his hat, holding it against his chest. "I've been thinking about this since the storm," he said. "Since the night you stepped into my cabin half frozen and changed my whole world." Anna's lips parted. Her heart pounded. "I don't want a quiet life alone anymore," Boone continued. "I want a life with you. A life we build together. A home. A future. A family if it's meant to be." Her eyes filled. He stepped closer. "Anna Reeves," he said softly, "will you marry me? Will you stand with me in this valley and build something worth keeping?" The cold wind slowed. Even the snowflakes seemed to listen. Anna pressed her hand over his. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, Boone, I will." He exhaled sharply, almost stumbling forward, gathering her into his arms. She laughed through tears as he lifted her off the ground in a warm, fierce embrace. The children in the schoolhouse window erupted into cheers. Townsfolk clapped. Anna buried her face against Boone's chest, laughing, crying, holding on to the man she had chosen, the man who had chosen her first, the man who would choose her every day forward. Together, they walked back toward Spring Hollow, toward their new life, toward the home they would build, hand in hand. And for the first time, Anna felt the future open wide and bright before her. A future she wanted, a future she trusted, a future she would build tomorrow and every day after. If this tale touched your heart tonight, I'd be honored to have you join our little frontier family here. Your subscription helps keep these Wild West stories alive, and it means more to me than you know. If you'd like to hear more journeys of danger, love, and second chances out on the frontier, just hit that subscribe button before you ride out. Thank you for spending your time with me, partner. I'll see you in the next story.